Hey everybody, I'm working on my little guy RT here. Nice little camper. Picked it up last year. It's in pretty good shape. There's one issue I'm having with it, and I bought it like this, and I guess they all do this because of the way they were built. You have aluminum body here, and the wood panel behind it has the incorrect type of screws, or perhaps it's contact. Maybe these aren't quite aluminum or they're the right aluminum, but whatever happens, you get a reaction here. You can see here a little bit, if my camera will focus in on it. Come on, focus, baby. Anyway, this is electrolysis or something of that nature, aluminum rust. And when I bought it, I don't know if the dealer patched it up or what he did to it, but they put some silicone on it to kind of keep the damage down. And, I drove this puppy on I got a 2014 Camry. We drove it all the way down to Key West and had a blast in the little thing. This is the worst side. And I didn't really take a video before I started, but you can see all the electrolysis that was happening to this panel here. This is supposed to be square. And you can see the damage it was starting to cause to the camper with all that water. When it was flat against the surface, water was getting in there as we were driving down the road. The good news is it doesn't really go the whole length. It stayed to the front corner. So, looks like I'm going to try and clean this up and maybe epoxy it to try and seal the wood. And I think I'm going to use Gorilla Tape across the heads of the screws. Just put a strip of Gorilla Tape all the way down the body to kind of prevent any contact for electrolysis again. I'm going to go to the steel yard. They're going to stamp a this is 96.5 inches is what I got from the back corner all the way up to here, and it'll be a square piece. I'll have to angle my cut here, and I was going to use a router to cut it, where these guys look like they use their teeth when they cut it. Let's see, where's the real nasty cut? Right here. Look at that. Yikes. Looks like they cut it with a chainsaw. But yeah, to get this panel off, so far all I've done, there's this side rail that runs down your roof, and this cover pops out of it, and you have they're square head. I think they're an S2 head. S2 head screw with a square. And I took out just up to about, about here, because there's really no reason to mess with up here. This is all perfect. And then, of course, across the bottom, there were a few. There was one that was kind of cockeyed in here behind the axle. They actually, when they installed it, they put it in at an angle so you could get to it, thank God. Screws around the fender, but I've yet to actually separate the fender from the panel here. And then the other thing I was having a doozy with, and you can see I finally just said, bleep it, and cut holes out to get my lights out. I'm trying to figure out the best way to get the wiring out of this, because the wire comes in and does whatever back here, and it comes up as a green wire and a white wire that goes south of this hole here. And I've been trying to get this inside this panel off, which, if you look closely, you'll see that's a bad example. That's a bad example. I mean, they did a really good job burying them in the carpet, but you can kind of see, if I can get the camera to focus, there's little pan head screws back there. And these guys are smaller than the outside. These are, I think the ones on the outside were an S2, and these are an S1 or an S0. I'm having a heck of a time getting them out, because they all want to strip out real easy, which is kind of unbelievable with it being a square drive. But I'm trying to see if I can finish getting this panel out here. Why won't this freaking camera focus? This panel here needs to come out, and I believe it goes up behind this panel here. So right now I'm trying to get this panel out, which is fighting me like a, you know what, just because I don't know why they would have done that behind it, but I think there's still 2 screws up there because I got it completely out here and I've scooted it out this way away from the wall to pop it out, but up here it's still solid. So since I want to tackle the other side, it's going to have to match, because I'm going to go from the factory gray color. I'm going to get polished aluminum, because I didn't know if you noticed, my fender over here is actually, well, it's dirty, but I full polished it. So I figure it'll give me more metal to blind people on the road. But I'm thinking about if I can think of a clever way without dropping the wire in the wall. Maybe cut it and tape it out here so that I can maintain. I don't want to cut the wire at the light, because that would just, I don't know. But this is where I'm at right now. I have the whole panels pretty much ready to go. I don't believe there's anything attaching it up here other than glue. And just in case, you know, because I figure whoever's watching this is probably going through the same thing. So I'm trying to look out for the next guy so he doesn't bang his up like I did. But right here you can see this white metal here comes down and it zigzags. It does a Z, and it's actually stapled. You can see one little staple back there, right there. It's actually stapled to the wood, and this lower fascia is just held in there by glue, which is how they sealed it. And then I guess when they put it in there, they kind of flatten this part out, and you know, the rest is history. So I'll go ahead and put an update video when I get it completely off, because like I said, I was going to take it to the there's a place on the west side, Alco Steel I think is what it's called, and they're going to die cut it for me so I don't have to tin snip it or do anything stupid to kind of wrinkle it up, because the new one's going to be polished aluminum, so that's going to be, you know, every little bend you're going to see a distortion in the reflections. So I'm going to try and get it as smooth as I can. It's not going to be too bad. I think a 4x8 sheet of it, or a 4x10 sheet of it, they quoted me like $120 or $130, and I only need, you know, 96 inches by 18 inches. So I think both of them is going to come in under $100, and you know, epoxy and stuff's going to add to the cost, but I just kind of want to get it sealed up, because we enjoy the heck out of this little thing. You know, we tow it behind the Camry. It just, you don't even feel it back there. You know, you get 23 miles a gallon in the Camry, which compared to my normal motorhome, which is the 33-foot Winnebago, that gets 6. It's actually quite an improvement. But I'll go ahead, I'll post another video as soon as I get this done. I'll look for part 2. I'll put a link in the description, one of those annoying little pop-up thingies you can click on to see the work in progress and finished result.